All right, we are starting the second half of the year. Forget stocks right now. The Dow up about 88 points. But in 6 states, gas taxes are going up. In Georgia, Maryland, Rhode Island, Nebraska, Vermont, Illinois, the biggest increase of them all. That state is looking at, actually, it's Idaho. I got it wrong. 7 cents increase there per gallon. A lot of this is to deal with the cost of infrastructure, roads, bridges, you know. Score there. Cheri, Jacobus joins us. Julie Roginsky. Julie, as a slightly left-leaning guest here, you welcome this.
Well, I don't welcome the Transportation Trust Fund going broke. Your home state of New Jersey, Neil, you've got bridges being shut down because their Transportation Trust Fund is broke, and yet the governor...
I thought that was only because the governor shut them down. Well,
the governor shuts them down when he wants to on the George Washington Bridge. That's an interstate bridge. That's a little different. But there are little minor bridges.
I got a little
very
bad joke there.
That's Bridgegate humor. I appreciate that.
That's how I roll. Yeah.
But you do have bridges that are being shut down in places like Minnesota. You remember a few years ago, there's a bridge collapse.
Absolutely.
And that's because there's literally no money. The feds aren't giving it. How are you going to raise the money for infrastructure?
Well, that's raise the point, Joe. We got to raise the gas tax. It costs $50 billion a year to fix this stuff. I don't know who came up with that number, and we're only getting $34 billion off the gas tax. I understand that on a federal level, but I also understand what happened to all the tolls and other fees and state budgets and excise taxes that are tucked into that in various localities that were supposed to go toward that. I mean, where's the accounting on that?
Well, in some cases in Maryland, Governor Hogan announced they're actually lowering the tolls. So that's good for taxpayers. They're going to get the tax hike, but then they get a little bit of a break during summer vacation, which they need. One thing about the federal money, what was all of that stimulus money supposed to go to? Remember, Obama said we had to have this. We took almost $1 trillion and we had to spend it. That was supposed to be mainly on infrastructure, and only a very small percentage of it was. So I know that, there's different ways you do budgets and appropriations, but for the average American, they're thinking about this.
What happened to that? What happened to that?
Aren't we just on the hook for $1 trillion that were supposed to be from the feds for all of these projects? And, some of the states got to make the decisions on where the money went. So
there was old Julie. Give me more.
It was. I know it's all went to me. Yeah. It's all in my pocket right here.
Well, it didn't go to this.
It should have, and I think the infrastructure projects under the stimulus were massively underfunded. I think we should not have given some of the tax cuts. The Republicans had to cut a deal to get those. Remember, you had to get those 3 votes in order to get the stimulus. I am incredible. Thank you for acknowledging that I am incredible, Neil.
All right, so the stimulus package.
What I want to know is we always seem to think that more money is the answer. And if you could tell me and account for all the money we've spent through all the other, because it's actually close to $100 billion a year with everything that goes into this, between the tolls, between the excise taxes, between the state surcharges and fees, and the gas tax. If you could tell me that has gone only to this and that you still need more money, I'd be the first to say, well, grudgingly maybe, but yeah, give more money. But we don't account for that.
Well, I think the transportation trust funds in most states, or should be if they're not, but I think they are segregated for toll projects, or for road projects, and they should be. And the problem here is that roads are wear and tear. You can't build a road and then ignore it.
But it's fair to say that some of that money has not found its way to those roads.
It's fair to say that every federal appropriation, some of that money doesn't find its way to its intended use.
So why get more?
Because I think, despite the fact that a small percentage doesn't make its way to where it's supposed to go.
It's got to be more than a small percentage.
It's not, because you have places that haven't raised the gas tax in years to even keep up with inflation. And meanwhile, the roads...
We had a nearly 800, inflation-adjusted billion stimulus measure when we started things off.
The stimulus, as we discussed, did not...
Well, that's chump change.
No, but the stimulus did not appropriate enough money for infrastructure projects. I agree with that. The stimulus appropriated money for teachers.
That's not true. The money just didn't go to that. They spent it on junk projects. They only about 10% of it. Even though, I mean, it didn't create the jobs it was supposed to create. It didn't go where it was supposed to go. Everybody had their hand in the till on that one, and we know it. And they wasted $1 trillion almost of the taxpayers' money. Now, at the state level, as we know, the states have to balance their budgets. The feds don't have to. So the
know what the second biggest expense is in Greece after pensions and everything else?
What's that?
Transportation, infrastructure.
But you
seems to be working like a charm. And maybe they're just polishing the Parthenon or, working on the Acropolis and all. But the fact is that that's a great example of people pissing away money.
But you can't analogize Greece to the United States. Greece has no control.
Oh, yes, I can.
You could.
Oh, yes, I can.
But it would be erroneous, since Greece, the central bank of Greece does not exist. They have to deal with the central bank of Europe.
I'm just saying, I could point you to the Parthenon. You could ignore it.
I've seen it.
Here's the thing about gas prices too. People see them going up or down. They drive by a gas station several times a day. It's sort of that one thing that they look at, and that's what they think the economy is doing. They notice it. A tenth of a cent makes a big difference per gallon. So people are feeling it.
All right, we'll watch again. It's in effect in 6 states now, but there are a number of measures to expand the states and also federalize this. We shall see. All right.